designing my own watches.
Interesting.
And that is how come I came up with the name Caveman, and now I have my own watch brand.
Interesting. Interesting. Now you have caught it. You have made it too compact. Let's unpack it. Growing up as a person, as a young man in Ghana, how was life growing up as a young man in Ghana?
Growing up here, I grew up like majority of the youth here
Mm-hmm.
working from hand to mouth.
Okay.
Put it that way.
Yeah.
On very minimal or very low income, I should say, and that kind of salary that before the month even ends, you have to borrow some money from people, and
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
the end of the month, you don't have anything left to save in your account. I
Yeah.
was living like that for a long time, but I felt something had to change. I did not want to continue that way. Something had to change. So yes, I grew up like that in Ghana, and I think a lot of the youth here are still in that field.
So what was your dream? What was your dream, growing up? What did you dream to become?
Yes, that's a very interesting question. And then again, I think my situation when I was growing up, I can tell you for a fact that I did not have a clear vision. I
Okay.
could not tell you that even in the university, right? A lot of people in the universities are still not sure of what they would become when they finish university.
Yep.
At that point, you want to, pass your exams and see what the world has for you. I don't think when I was in the university, I had a clear picture of what I wanted to become. It was more like, let me finish and see what opportunities are out there for me. That was more like it for me. Yes.
And what was the course you studied?
And I studied business management. From my senior high, I was a science student. I studied biology, chemistry, physics. And then after senior high, I decided to now change from science to business
Okay.
because I started having a different understanding to the world.
Okay.
And also, when I was in secondary school, reading chemistry and all the others, it was not really working out for me. That was when I started finding out that no, maybe this is not what I want. And I felt like the business world was more flexible, more dynamic. So after secondary school, decided to change my program to business. So
To business. Okay.
I wrote the business exams and I enrolled into the university to read business management.
Interesting.
Yes.
Now, at that particular point, now you've mentioned that while growing up, it was not as if maybe you had a particular goal, as it were.
Yeah.
And it is not bad, even though it's good. Even though it's good to have a goal or to have some people you look up to as mentors or as inspirers, people that inspire you, as it were. But even if you don't have that, like my father in the Lord, Pastor Iyadebole, said, it's not too late to dream. One can dream and change, have a dream at any particular point in time. In my local dialect, I remember talking to yesterday. In my dialect, there's something said that it is when you wake up that is morning, isn't it? Can you hear me?
Yes.
In my local dialect, they said it is when you wake up. It is when you wake up that it is morning. In other words, it is when you become conscious of something that is your morning.
Yeah.
So
to
if one does not have, as it were, a dream of something you are looking up to um, before, when was it in school, and uh, before one gets out of school is not a problem. It is at any point in time in which you come to that realization that you now know that, oh, this is where I am, and to now say, okay, what can I make do with where I am? So ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching live, or you are going to watching this later as a replay, wherever you are right now, don't give up. Don't live in despair. Don't say, oh, I don't have any dream. You can dream again. You can begin to consciously begin to make, a positive, um, a positive dreaming, if you like to use that particular word. All right. So, Mr. Zamefe, so after you left, finished school, you did business studies and management. So what next?
Yeah, so while in school, when I was reading business management in the tertiary, I
Mm-hmm.
was working at the same time.
Okay, you're working.
I
Okay.
was working in a hotel. I was working in a hotel. I work from Monday to Friday, and then the weekends I go for lectures.
For lectures. Okay, so
I was
part.
trying to, yes.
Mm,
The reason why I had to work at the same time schooling was my father's away. While I was in school, my father passed away, and then I decided to take off some burden from my mother
okay.
by getting a job and be able to fend for myself. Because
Wow.
when my father passed away, I started wondering how my mother was going to
To cope.
look after all of us alone.
Mm,
Yeah, so I said no. Even if I cannot give her money, what I can do for her is to take myself off her burden. So
mm,
I found a job and I started paying my own school fees and looking after myself.
mm.
Yes, so
Interesting.
I worked in the hotel for some time. Things went very bad during that week. One of the things that happened to me when I was working in the hotel was that when I got there, I believed in myself. I believed that I was a multi-talented guy. I believed that I was capable of a lot. But I was not able to fit into the working environment.
Mm,
And it was not working out well for me. And I think a lot of this is one of the challenges we have in the world right now with the youth is that instead of we deciding to develop our own talent,
mm.
the system has forced all of us to go and look for jobs. So
Yeah.
people are rejecting their own talents and going to look for a job instead of
Mm,
developing their talent.
mm.
So I realized that I had my own talents, but I was not putting them to use. I've gone to try to fit myself into this working environment that was not working for me.
Mm.
So things went very bad at the hotel. Eventually, they sent me out of the hotel to the airport, where I stand in the arrival hall and I hold a placard, like a human signboard.
Mm-hmm.
I hold a placard with the hotel name on the placard, hoping to get customers for the hotel.
To come to the hotel. Okay.
So I was as a human signage at the airport.
Okay.
Then one day I just decided to resign and look for new opportunities because the amount of money I was making at that place, I knew that if I continued like that, I would not be
You will
able
not be able
to
to. Mm.
create a future for myself.
Interesting. Interesting. Now, there's this point you made, which is one of the things we keep mentioning on this show over and over again, is the ability to believe in yourself. We've discussed this in one of previous shows about if you don't believe in yourself, you cannot achieve anything. And you have underscored it that even though when you are working in that particular hotel, you believe that you are a multi-talented person, and that settles it.
Yes.
That is the fulcrum upon which every other thing lie. what a man believes, is what he becomes. So if you have believed in that time that you were just nothing, maybe today we will not be having the great gifts that you have been able to, bring to life today. And also, even though you when you were working in that hotel, you might not have seen it like that way. It was a process. It was a required process, and we have also said it on this show before that everyone has process. Every person has his or her own process of becoming something that God has ordained them to become. So, and like you rightly mentioned, it is now for every youth to know what is the process I must go through to be able to become what God has ordained them to be, as adding value to this earth, like you have been able to do. So it's very, very, interesting. So now, how do you now come about wristwatch of all things? If you resign, you resign. So when you resign, what next? Did you now start? How do you come about? What's the next thing?
Okay. So when I resigned, I was I remember when I called my mother and I told her I was going to resign from the job. The first question she asked me was, do I have another job that I'm going to? And I said, no, I don't have another job, but I have a plan. I have a plan.
You have a plan.
Okay. So my plan, I had a plan. What I was thinking was that, a lot of young people, you wake up at dawn, you struggle to get the car, you are in the traffic, you get to work, you work yourself very hard, you struggle to get the car back home. By the time you get home, you are tired, you sleep, the following morning, you start again. And at the end of the month, you don't have any saving in your account. This is the problem. At the end of the month, you don't save anything. So you're not building a future for yourself. So I said, okay, if I stay home, even if I don't have a job, and I stay home, and I have time on my hands, and I have food in my house, once I have time on my hands, I will be able to identify an opportunity and grab it.
Okay.
That was what I believed.
Okay.
Yes, so I believe that if I resign and I have food, I will not go hungry, I will not starve. If I have food and I have a place to lay my head and I have time on my hands, eventually an opportunity will come my way and I will grab it. So I stayed, I was looking around for opportunities. I tried a couple of other businesses that did not really work. I will buy second-hand used men's suit jackets.
Okay.
I come back, clean them, and iron them properly, and I try to sell. So I was surviving off that. I was surviving off that while still looking for an opportunity. Then the opportunity presented itself, and I identified the opportunity for watches. Because before that, I never even liked watches. I would not say that I was a fan of watches. No, I never liked watches.
You never.
But I was looking for opportunities. I was looking for opportunities. And when the opportunity presented itself, I grabbed it and moved on from there.
So like that's very insightful that we have also said on this show you are hitting some touching points in which you have had in previous show before, that people should not only just have eyes, but they must see. As you are walking around, like you mentioned, looking for opportunities. So you're looking for that particular thing that you think, oh, this will be very interesting and will catch your fancy, and you'll be able to do something or walk towards it. And it's very important that we've said it even on this show, that we inspire people to be inspired, to renovate themselves, and to make impact. So to make impact, to be an impact, a change maker, you must be able to see what is happening around you. You must just not be moving around with closed eyes, to not be conversant and sensitive, as it were, to things that are happening all around you. And like you rightly mentioned, so it's very important. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching this tonight, or you are watching the replay, and you want to, pivot to the next level, it's important for you as a person to be conscious of what is happening around you, and look, like Mr. Zamefe mentioned, looking for opportunity. Yes, thank you, Sylvia. Identifying opportunities when they appear, because opportunities all around us. And like somebody mentioned, he said opportunities comes in a cloak called walk, isn't it? Opportunities come in a cloak, come walk. It's very, very, very interesting. So now tell us now. So when you now got into wristwatches, so what happened? How did you know that it was wristwatch that is the opportunity? Let me go back. How did you know?
So one thing I did was that I was trying out a new business. I wanted to start recording video commercials for companies.
Okay.
I did not have a camera. I did not have anything, but I said, I have very good ideas. I have very good video concepts. So let me find somebody who has a camera, and I'll go to the companies and look for the business. When I get business, the camera person will come, then we shoot the TV commercial for the company, and then we share the money. That was the plan that I had. So I just wanted to dress properly, because I was going out to look for business. And I said, I never had a watch. Let me buy a watch for the first time.
Okay.
I enter into a shop. I had 50 cedis on me. And they said the watch was 150 cedis.
Wow.
That was the first time I attempted buying a watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I was surprised that, why is a watch so expensive? 150 cedis. So I couldn't buy the watch. Then I left. And I saw a guy selling a watch on Facebook. So I called him. And I said, how much is the watch? He said 50 cedis. Then I bought the watch from him.
Okay.
I wore the watch. I took a picture of the watch. I put the picture on my WhatsApp. That was my WhatsApp profile picture.
Okay.
At that time, the status was not there.
Okay.
I put a picture on my WhatsApp, and then somebody saw the picture and said, it's nice. Are you selling it? And I said, yes, I'm selling it. So the guy came, he bought the watch, and I made some profit. That was when I identified an opportunity.
Wow.
So in my mind, I just made profit. So what if I manage and sell two? I'll make double that profit.
Double,
if
yeah.
I sell three, I'll make three times of the profit. So I believed it was a good opportunity. So I called the guy to come back, and I bought the watches. Then I managed to sell two, and then I bought three, and I managed to sell three, and I bought four. And I sold at four, and I bought five. That was how my watch business started.
Interesting. And that story you mentioned there, and I think it's very important to underscore it. Ladies and gentlemen, like our guest is saying tonight, he wanted to use a wristwatch, but when he used it and he posted it, somebody said, do you want to sell it? Somebody else would have said, no, I'm not selling wristwatches. Somebody would have said that, isn't it? But he said, yes, I'm selling it. And the person bought it. So at that particular point in time, you were offering value to the other person. And so for anyone on this show, Instagram show tonight, in which you don't have money, myself inclusive, I'm still wanting to, I want money, I still need money. It is, you can only make money when you offer value. When you offer value is what will bring you money. So from the experience of Mr. Zamefe, he offered that value of wristwatch, offered a timepiece to someone, and from that he recognized the opportunity, and he began to sell the first one, second one, made profit, and so wow, this is profitable. And from that, so how did you now pivot from selling wristwatches to manufacturing your own wristwatches?
Great. So when something about me is that I don't like to settle for small things. Okay.
Okay, you are like me then. I like big things.
Yeah, I don't like. I always want to improve, add value, add value, add value. You know. So when I was selling watches, it was not enough for me. I said, okay, um, there are people who have good watches, but they just have fault problems. So let me learn how to repair watches. So even if you don't want to buy a watch, I can still fix your watches for you. So I started learning how to repair watches. I go to the watch repairers at the roadside. I sit beside them. I become an apprentice to them. They teach me how to fix watches. I started breaking watches apart, learning how to fix this and that. That's how I moved from selling watches to now repairing watches. And I identified that a lot of rich people who had expensive watches, they are not comfortable with taking their watches to the roadside repairers because their watches are expensive. So I wanted to build a brand where I become a corporate watch repairer.
Yeah.
You know, so yes, I'll not be the roadside watch repairer. I'll be a corporate, well-branded, well-presented watch repairer. So all the big people who had expensive watches, they started bringing their watches to me because I branded myself properly, presented my business properly.
Interesting.
So I started getting popular in my country as a watch repairer.
Interesting.
I started getting popular as the person to go to when you need a good watch.
Interesting.
So I started thinking that, okay, all the watches that I was selling were imported. So the questions were running through my mind. How come we don't have any watch that is from Africa? I couldn't find any watch that was from African origin. So I became very concerned. The Africans, we are very intelligent people. We have a lot of potential. How come nobody has taken the initiative to create their own watches? I challenged myself.
You challenge yourself. Wow, interesting. Now, ladies and gentlemen, are you back? Now, for all of us here tonight, I think you will continue that story when we get connected back to you. But I think it's important to underscore one very point out of all the big points I've identified here. There is the point of wristwatch. Now, you were selling the wristwatches, but before you were selling the wristwatch, after you were selling the wristwatches, an idea came up to yourself to say, okay, how can I upscale? How can I upskill myself? How can I have additional skill to what I already have? I have a skill of selling. What can I do more to go to the next level? So it's okay, let me go learn how to repair. And in going to learn how to repair wristwatches, you did something which is very important, which I wrote here. For everyone listening or watching this replay of this live, for you to pivot to the next level, you must humble yourself. Because it takes a degree, for somebody who is a degree holder to now say you are going to go and meet all the roadside wrist watch repairers to learn from them. You could have said, what would they offer me? I have a degree, I have a BSc, I have something. But you humble yourself. So humility is required in acquiring skill. Like somebody normally said this when we were back in school, and I like it so much, to say that when you want to learn something, don't humble yourself first. Humble yourself, because when you learn it, nobody will ask you, where did you learn it from? It's not written anywhere. Once you humble yourself and you learn from anybody, a small person you think you are bigger than or anything, you are going to go to the next level, because at that point you've taken up the knowledge, and the knowledge will pivot you to the next level, like we have seen in your case, that humility is important. And I think this is very important even to all our youths of nowadays, that to say that you need to humble yourself to learn. If you have a degree, you must humble yourself. And I tell people, what you have done is very phenomenal, because even here in the UK, one of those people that are making good money here are those people who do handiwork, handyman.
Yes, you're right.
Those are the people making a lot of money, because they are offering you service, value, repairing things for you, and they are taking all the money. So it's important. And I remember when we were, those days when we were very young, and I'm a Christian and we got born again and all this, we always have this, we are very proud to say, okay, go and sell pure water. I say, me, sell pure water? How? No, God forbid. Whereas some other people are selling that water and making money from it, and their life is being bettered, and they are honing their skills of selling. They are honing their skills of negotiation. They are honing their skills of how to network with people. So it's very important. Let me pause and allow you to continue, because there are many things I can bring it up from that your experience. So where you stopped was that you were asking the question, how is it that we don't have anybody producing watch in Ghana?
Yes. Even in Africa.
In Africa.
Because, I was importing a lot of watches from outside Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So I started searching for African watches, and I couldn't find any. It was I was concerned about that. So for me, I like challenges. So I wanted to know what it took to build a brand, to build a watch brand.
To build a watch brand.
And because I had already been selling watches, okay? I had already been selling watches. I had been repairing watches. So I knew the kind of watches that people like and the type of watches people don't like. Okay? So my experience in selling watches also informed my decision on how to design my watch. And also because I was repairing watches for other people, my experience in repairing watches also informed me to know the mistakes that I should avoid in my watch, so that my watches will be more quality. So yes, those experiences really helped me to design my watch. I studied the other watches. I could buy a watch and then I break the watch apart. I re-engineer the watch to know how it was made. So I studied all the other watch companies to know what they are doing, how they are doing it, so I can strategize properly. So that's how I started designing my watch. And I was thinking for a name. I had to think about a name for my brand, and I came up with the name Caveman.
Interesting. Now you see tonight, I think, and I don't know if Precious and others would and Choma would and Neoma Mandu Neoma Mandu and Becky, if you agree with me that tonight is a master class. I'm telling you the truth, and I think I'm going to because at every point you're making is a business case, is a business analysis that would help people pivot to upscale in their businesses. Because the other time I paused on the point you made, but when you now come about the fact that because you are selling watches, you already knew consumer behavior. You knew consumer behavior. So for anyone watching this tonight, you are offering any service, you need to understand your consumers and know how they behave and know what makes them tick for you to be able to get more money to come out of them. So because you knew that, you know what they liked, it helped you to now know what you are offering them, to offer them what they liked, which today is all talking about. Again, you mentioned the fact that because you knew what they like and what they don't like, so you knew their behavior, you are able to go to the next level of studying watches. So to break down, to understand the processes. So for any particular person or any business you want to go into, it's the same logic of say, okay, what does it entail to do this kind of a business? And but when you now even got the wristwatch, you broke it down and to understudy the processes, the various ways. It's just wonderful. It's just wonderful. And again, another point which, before I allow you to continue, is that you studied other companies, which is you studied your competitors.
I did.
You try to understand your competitors, know what your competitors are doing. Now, because you were armed with the knowledge of how to repair things, which you have learned from the roadside, you are street smart. It helped you to know the mistakes of your competitor. It's quite very interesting. So now, let me at this point ask you, what were the challenges that you went through? Because the way you are saying it is as if it is very, is very easy. It's as if it's just a walk in the park, a stroll in the park.
No, it's not a walk in the park. Okay, so some of the challenges that I faced were they were more of mockery and ridicule.
Okay.
Yeah, because the hotel that I used to work in, when I resigned from the hotel, I had some other colleagues who also resigned from the hotel. But when they resigned, they went into other jobs like banking, other jobs that came with cars, like driving very flashy cars, And when I left, I started selling watches in the street. So the mockery was there a lot, We go for programs, we go for an event, like a get-together. The hotel did a get-together for all the staff and the previous staff, so we all went. So we are all at the program, and then they are asking questions. Oh, so where are you now? Where are you now? Where are you now? Ask me where I am now. Before I even answered the question, somebody answered for me. Now he said, what everybody started laughing. Everybody started laughing because every other person had moved to companies and were driving beautiful cars. And I'm here selling watches. So the challenges that I had were with my peer group who were mocking what I was doing. Another challenge that I had was that even my mother was not sure of what I was doing. You know, it's not easy for the African parents that you pay school fees for your child to come out with a degree, then he starts selling watches in the street. You know. So sometimes I go to somebody's office to sell a watch to the person. Then they give me a chair. They say, oh, they want me to sit down. Then they start advising me, a young man, instead of selling a watch, go and look for a job. Young man, how can you be doing this? You go and look for a job. Why won't you stop this? Go and look for a job. You know, so I was getting that kind of negativity from the society. Everybody was telling me to stop and go and look for a job. Everybody was telling me to stop and go and look for a job. So it was very depressing that everywhere you go, instead of they supporting you, they are all telling me to stop and go and look for a job. You know, so it takes the attribute of determination, focus for an entrepreneur to know that this is my plan, this is what I want to do. People will try to distract me, but I will not be distracted. It takes a lot of mental strength to set a path and be very, very, very determined to remain on your path.
Wow. So it takes a lot of mental strength to determine what you want and stay on that path.
And stay on that path, because people will not understand it. Even your own parents will not understand your path. Everybody will try to discourage you. You know, but it's your determination to. When my mother was telling me to go and look for a job. This was one thing I did with my mother. Was that I called her and I told my mother that I know very well. You know, at that time when I was jobless, she had a friend at a bank, a bank manager, and the bank manager said I should bring my CV. The bank manager wanted me to bring my CV. So my mother was very happy for me that finally her son was going to get a job at
In the bank.
Then I told her that no, I don't want to work at the bank. I want to sell watches. My mother almost collapsed.
Almost fainted. Wow.
But you know, she almost fainted. But I told her, I sat her down that I wanted to explain something to her. I had already seen the bigger picture for what I want to do. I knew that it would be very difficult to explain to anybody because nobody can see the picture apart from me. Said that she should give me 1 year. Just 1 year. That for that 1 year, she should allow me to chase my dreams. At the end of the year, if it does not go well, then I would go and look for a job. So I wanted to try my ambition. I wanted to try my ambition for 1 year. After 1 year, if it does not go well, then I agree. I'll go and look for a job. You know, so to me, I challenged myself that I had only 1 year to prove to my mother that my plan was a good plan.
Interesting. So it means that for those of us who are watching and listening, what is it that people are telling you right now? What challenge, what ridicule are you going through based on your path or your goal or the things you want to work and to achieve? And people are telling you, like they told Mr. Anthony Zamefre, that where are you going to? What? He's just selling watches. You have no future. There's no future there. Imagine you going to an office selling them wristwatch and they are advising you to say, young man, you are wasting your life. So if they are advising you, if people are advising you as it is now, and you can see a future and you can see where you are going to, please, like he told us, stay focused. He says earlier, it takes focus for an entrepreneur to know what he wants and to tackle it and to go for it. And secondly, he said it takes good mental strength to be able to be determined not to give up based on what people say. Family and friends, they might say a lot of things, but when you know where you are going for, you go for it, and you are going to overcome. Interesting. But it's very interesting that in your mentioning of challenge, you didn't mention the issue of money, because to start a watch company, you must have good, big, fat bank account.
Yes, you're right. You're right. But like I said initially, I think a plan. If you have a plan, you can achieve anything.
Yeah.
A
If
lot
you
of
have a
people
plan, you
have.
can achieve
A lot of
anything.
people have. Yes, a lot of people have very good ideas, but they are waiting for capital. Myself, I was looking for capital, but it is very difficult in this time to find anybody who will put money into your hands to start a business. It's very difficult. If you're waiting for somebody to put money into your hand for you to start your business, then your business may never happen. So what I did was that, you see, my watch selling business, I started with only 50 Ghana cedis.
50 Ghana
Only
cedis.
50 cedis. Yes. Then I sold the watch and I bought two and I sold two. So I said, okay, just like the way I started my watch business, with my own brand, I am going to be very small. Let me find out how I can make only one watch. I will make only one watch. When I sell one watch and I make profit, I'll come back and make two watches. You understand? So I broke it down into the most basic form, and then all the money that I made from my watch selling business industry, I put all that money back to make one watch of my own brand.
Interesting.
You get me?
Now I can see the points you are saying. You are underscoring a very important point for all those who are watching tonight, in which you want to start a business, or you're already in the business and you're thinking of how to pivot or how to go to the next level, is to start small. And like Iromo said in Africa, the proper African proverb, that for you to eat an elephant, what do? You don't go and begin to eat elephant from the head. You just start from a very small, just a very small part of it. And if you are going and going and going and going, very soon you will find that you have finished a whole elephant. But if you are looking at the if you're looking at the bigger picture, you will not be able to do. So starting small, I think, is very, 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 very important, like you rightly mentioned. And I think one of the points you mentioned, which you said again, which I think is very important, is the ability to save. The culture of having a savings account is what many people learn. I, for one, is one of the things I'm working on seriously, learning that ability. Because for many people, depending on your upbringing, you might not have it. But for to be a shrewd businessman, the ability to learn to save is important. Which the amount of money you saved is what helped you to be able to produce, to put that into the first wristwatch which you manufactured, which is very, 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 very inspirational. But now, how did you now get the raw materials in Africa to manufacture a wristwatch? That should be another challenge, isn't it?
Okay. When I started, let me, how I made my first wristwatch, okay, was that I took 12 watches. I took part of 12 watches, okay?
Okay, recycling.
And I revived them.
Okay.
So I have about 10 sport watches. I break all of them apart. And I take one piece from here, one piece from there, one piece from here, one piece from here.
Interesting.
To make a new engine, a new movement.
Interesting.
So after I make the movement, the other things like the leather, luckily we get a lot of leather
Yeah, strap.
So I got leather in Ghana to make the straps for the watches. I went to jewelers who can make the metal part of the watch for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I went to the jewelers, and then together we designed the metal part of the watch. And somebody's asking, what is the name of your watch brand?
It's Caveman. It's Caveman watches. Apropos King, it's Caveman watches.
Yes, I've replied.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, so I went around. I found jewelers who can do very precise work for me. So they do the body of the watch. I made the engine of the watch, and then I went to the market to buy leather. I was actually an apprentice to a shoemaker for about three months.
Oh God.
How to treat leather. For 3 months, I was a shoemaker apprentice. I had to learn
Interesting.
how to make leather straps. So,
Interesting.
I became an expert. At leather making. You know, so that's how I managed to do the first one. So when I sold the first one and I made some money, then I put the money back and I made two. After making two, and then I make three.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I think Mr. Zamefe, you are going to come back onto the Mentors Show because I'm telling you, you are just blowing my mind, and spending time on each aspect of your life and your experience, I tell you, is mind blowing, and it's a good process. Yes, thank you, Cindy. See process and progression. Yes, Cindy. Yes, he was progressing. Now you humbled yourself with a degree to go and get learn from the roadside people how to repair wristwatches.
Yeah.
Then you now went to become a shoemaker. You went also to meet a shoe person to learn how to be a shoemaker.
Yes.
So it means now, and I'm telling you, it means now you are also producing shoes, isn't it?
No, I need to know how to treat leather, okay? Because one of the important parts of a watch is the leather strap.
Yeah.
The leather strap is a very important part of the watch. So I wanted to be the best when it comes to making leather straps. And to do that, I had to go to the shoemakers. They are the ones who work with leather every day. So I was an apprentice to the shoemaker because I had to learn about leather and how to stitch leather with hand, how to treat leather, how to make it last very long. There was a lot of things that I learned from the shoemakers, you know. So it was a very good 3 months for me.
Interesting. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you that whatever as from what Mr. Zemefa has told us tonight, whatever your dream is, wherever you are right now, you can achieve those things if you know what are the stages and the processes, and who to go and meet and who to go and learn from. You can be able to gain those processes, who to learn from, to be able to know how to go to the next level. And I think it's very important. And one of the things you mentioned, which is I think is very important, is delayed gratification. You have been able to have this aspect of delayed gratification, that when you sold the first watch, the first one you first bought, when you sold it, you could have used that money. When you made the profit, you could have used that money to go and do something else. But you delayed the gratification. You sold the money back into the business. Then the same principle have come now in producing the first wristwatch, in which you got parts reusable. I'm the chairman of Nigerian Environmental Society here in the UK, and we are concerned about recycling, renewables. And what you are doing now is that from spoiled wristwatches, you repurpose spoiled wristwatches, as it were. So for all our listeners tonight, whatever you want to go into, could there be some spoiled or things that could be repurposed that will help you to achieve your purpose and get into what you want to do? So it's important to be able to, to go through this aspect. But I think it's mind blowing. Now, tell us, how did you now come about having Akon buying your gold wristwatch? How do you come about Don Jazzy buying your wristwatch?
Okay, so when I introduced my watch into the market, because I was already selling watches, I had a client database. I already had some following. So because I had clients already, when I introduced my own brand, I marketed it to my clients, and they had already built trust with me. So I was not a stranger to them. They knew that I was an expert in watches. So when I introduced my brand, they trusted the brand. So I started making sales from my client database, and then when the big people, the big men started buying my watches, I decided to build on with their network.
Okay.
So this is what happened. When any big person buys a watch from me, I'll lead with the person to give me a lead to another big person. You get it? So when I buy a watch, when I sell a watch to an influential person, I ask him to give me a connection to another influential person. That was how I started connecting. And then one day, somebody said a friend wanted to buy watches as a gift, and said that Don Jazzy had showed interest in my watches. And so the friend came and bought the watch for Don Jazzy.
Okay.
And sent the watch to Don Jazzy. When Don Jazzy got the watch, then he contacted me on Instagram that he was really impressed. He was really amazed, and that he's there to support me. So he started doing photo shoots for us, started endorsing the product, and we built a relationship from there. So when Akon came to Ghana, and then we had to give him a wristwatch. So he heard about the Caveman brand, and he was curious to see how quality the watches were. So they set up a meeting for Akon and myself, and I met him, and then he got the watch, he bought the watch, and he endorsed, and followed us. And even the New York Times also sent a delegate to come and interview us and profile us in the New York Times magazine.
Interesting. You see, we can't have enough of you, because it's just getting greater and greater. Now, let me ask you this question. I normally ask all my guests, but because your story is so wonderful, I've not even been able to even define, to ask, how would you define creativity? Because this show is to spark creativity in people. And I know that all the things we have learned, we are sparking creativity and ideas. How would you define creativity?
I think creativity has to do with a lot of learning. One, learning all the time, learning new things. You see, some people are not interested in adding new skills to themselves. For me, I'm always trying to learn. I'm trying to learn a new skill. I'm always trying. You see, what I do my own graphic design. I learned Photoshop. I learned Lightroom. I learned photography. So I know how to do a lot of things. So learning is key when it comes to creativity, and also not being afraid of making mistakes. Most of the time, because we don't have a lot of mental strength, all the things that people say around us, they affect us a lot, and that also kills our creativity. People have a lot of creativity in them, but they are, what will people say? Will it be stupid to people? Will they laugh at me? So it kills their creativity. So when you have the mental strength, when it comes to creativity, there are no rules. Do them how you want to do them. Do them how you want to do The fact that everybody is doing it this way doesn't mean you have to do it this way. Just be, just yourself. So that mental, for instance, is one of the things that allow me to do things my way. And this is the thing about people. When you start something new, they would not support you. When you start something new, people will not support you. But it's fine. They will be watching from afar. They are wondering how far it will go.
It will go.
When they start realizing that it has gone, when they start realizing that it has gone very far, they have no choice but to follow you. They have no choice. For example, this is why sometimes getting a brand influencer is very important. When we started selling watches to Nigeria, we used to get orders from Nigeria and we send the watches. But some people were asking us, what if I send the money and you don't send the watch? What if I send the money and the watch does not come? How do we know that it is true? You understand? But the moment the Nigerians saw that Don Jazzy has endorsed the watch, and Don Jazzy was like an ambassador for us,
yes, sir.
we never had any questions. We never had any questions again from Nigeria. We never had anybody doubting us again from Nigeria. So the brand influencing by Don Jazzy also helped us a lot in the Nigerian market.
Wow. Interesting. Now, ladies and gentlemen, does anybody have a question? I still have questions, but it's just mind blowing. And I would have loved, your internet is not so clear. Would have loved, but we're definitely going to have you again. We're definitely going to have you again, and to be able to unpack more, because it's important. Can you believe that we have spent 57 minutes? Do you believe that? It's just as if we just started. I'm telling you. So it's just as if we just started, because we are still in my place. They say we are just still bringing the birds out of the porch. We have not even finished. We have not been able to unpack all the great things that you are sharing with us. And I think is very, very important. So creativity has to do with a lot of learning. So ladies and gentlemen, I think it's important. This year has not finished. Each one that is on this show and you watch this show, you need to learn a new skill. If you want to pivot to the next level, you need to learn a new skill. Learn something you are not used to, something you've not done before. That will help you to give new perspective. And to be an entrepreneur, or to achieve or make impact, you need to learn new things. And you need to be able to, like you said, being able to learn Photoshop, being able to learn photography and Photoshop and all those stuff would help you even in your advertisement, in lightning, in how you, all those pictures that you use to sell the product. So in other words, you have, and that underscored the point I made earlier about the supply chain of wristwatches. But I think let me not go there, because if I open that one now, we only have 2 minutes and I don't want Instagram to finish. So we're going to end like this here. We are going to bring you back again. People, what do you say? Should we bring him back? Should we bring him back? You have to. Yeah, he said multitasking. Yeah, you have to come back again, Mr. Anthony. It's just been a wonderful session in which I've written notes myself. It's just my questions. I've not finished my questions, but you have to come back again. We have to do, a new session in which to take this to the next level. So we want to thank you. I don't want Instagram to time me off. So thank you very much for coming. We hope to see you doing greater things, and we'll have you back again. We promise you. Thank you very much, Mr. Anthony.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, it's just wonderful. So thank you very much for this show. We're sorry we came late again, but hey, it was a wonderful time at the end of the day. So we'll see you again in our next show. We're having Oba, who sang in Nathaniel Batsi's new song. She'll be here on Tuesday. Don't miss it. Bye.